Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is quite an exciting one as I am unboxing the first of my 3 planner deliveries for 2024. If you watched my video from a couple of weeks ago talking about how I plan out my planners, you will probably be surprised to see this planner because it wasn't on my list. The main reason that this wasn't on my list when I filmed that video and kind of did my 2024 planning is because I didn't actually know it existed. So when I found out, I knew I had to pre-order it because I knew that it ticked a lot of the boxes of what I was originally going to use my Hobonichi weeks for. So yeah, that's kind of a quick update as to why this is a planner that I wasn't originally planning to buy. I'm going to stop talking though and get into the proper unboxing. Obviously you know what it is because you've seen the title of the video, but this is a Take a Note in the B6 size. So Take a Note is not a new planner brand to me. I had the A5 version a couple of years ago. I will pop a link to the review video if you want to see kind of my thoughts on that planner, but I did really enjoy it. The layout didn't work for me, the size didn't work for me. It was one of those things where I could appreciate that it was a very good planner. It just wasn't the right planner for me. But the B6 version, however, is hopefully the right planner for me. It kind of gets over a lot of the issues that I have with the weeks in terms of the size and the grid and things like that, but then isn't so big like the A5 where it takes up all my desk space and it feels a bit too big and clunky to be kind of just a quick, you know, handy planner, which is what I want this for and what I use the weeks for. So I pre-ordered this a few weeks ago. I got a shipping notification, I want to say maybe I think it maybe took about 10 days from shipping notification to arrival in the UK from Taiwan, so very good. No customs charges. It came in just a very simple box and that wrapping doesn't look like there's any damage, so yeah, well delivered. Par for the course for the last one that I ordered. I was very happy with the shipping time and all of that, and there was, you know, no issues. On to what's actually in the box. So first things first, you get this nice page marker. It's similar to what I got the last time I ordered one. It's yeah, just size for the planner, but it comes with a handy calendar. Although interestingly, this has got 2023 rather than 2024. Feel like that's a mistake because I'm fairly certain the one that I got a couple of years ago had kind of the year that matched the planner, but okay, interesting. I'll have to check to see if anybody else has queried that and have a look on the website. Next up, I purchased the clear cover just to protect the planner. I didn't order one with the last planner that I ordered, but it came with a clear cover, but I kind of thought that was a bit of a fluke, so I ordered one just in case. I mean, it was very inexpensive and I didn't want to not have one. It comes with a couple of internal pockets and a pen loop, so very handy to have. Good durable cover, and as it's B6 size I can move on to other planners after this year if I want. And then we have the actual planner itself, which comes in this nice bronze embossed box. Very good packaging. It's simple but classy. Okay, move that to one side, and nice little, again, embossed thank you card. And here we go. There's next year's. So that was obviously just a little extra thrown in. So this is the one that I was actually expecting, the one for next year. I tend not to use it if I'm honest, but it is nice to have just a little page marker to throw into certain pages if you do want to kind of quickly refer to somewhere. So on to the actual planner. It's a cardboard craft cover with 2024 embossed, and then the lovely kind of bronzy foiling for the logo and the planner size, which is medium. Craft cover at the back, nice and simple, and then this style of binding, which not everyone will like because it's not necessarily the prettiest, but it does mean that you lay flat straight out the gate. Cover page there, which is nice. I won't really kind of refer to it, but it's a nice touch. and then you open straight onto a very useful year at a glance, and then 1 page worth of habit tracking. I didn't really use this properly the year that I had this planner before. I obviously have more than one habit, so it won't be my habit tracking page. I'll probably use it for something else. I need to think of that, but it'll be quite cool to have just a separate page for one thing. And then you have year at a glance, very similar layout to Hobonichi's, a little bit of kind of extra space top and bottom, but will be infinitely more usable than the weeks one because obviously it's a wider column. You then go straight into your monthly pages, and the monthly pages are kind of one of the main reasons why I wanted to switch to this from the Hobonichi weeks, just because of how much extra space you have around it, and you don't necessarily lose lots of space. You know, for the actual plans there's still plenty of space for me to write all of that in, but if you saw my videos about One Book July and bullet journaling, one of the things that I loved about my monthly layout was I didn't just have plans, I had kind of weekly tasks and things like that kind of planned in properly, rather than trying to squeeze them in the small squares or just kind of having them here. I could kind of line them up properly with the week that it needed to be done, which really helped with kind of weekly planning, things like that. This layout gives me ample space to do that, so I'm really looking forward to kind of getting this set up and having really kind of productive monthly layouts. You get up until it's January next year, oh no, even more, March next year, which I really love because there's nothing worse than starting to fill up with plans for the next year before the first year's finished and you've got nowhere to write them. At least if I've got a few months worth, I can write them in until I get my new planner. And then you go into the weekly. So it's kind of hard to see the layout because the grid is so fine and the lines are so fine, which I really love. It might not be to everybody's taste, but I like a layout that you can really adapt, and I'm really looking forward to trying a few different layouts next year and kind of working out the best way to use this. But initially there are 3 effective blocks there and then kind of some free space underneath, which if you have seen how I plan currently, I do kind of split my days into 3. I have kind of home and life tasks, and I have shop tasks, and then I have kind of content tasks. So the idea initially is to basically follow a similar plan, and you've kind of got, you know, your clear daily categories, and then you've got free space for schedules or notes or anything else. But then you do also have just this sidebar for anything that's kind of weekly things, or I quite like to log anything that I'm waiting for, so it might be emails, responses, or things like that. This gives me the ability to kind of do all that across one layout in a way that all of it's gridded, because at the moment obviously in the weeks the left hand page isn't gridded and only the right is, and sometimes the right can feel like there's just too much kind of blank space, whereas here I've only got the sidebar for kind of other tasks, which probably works better for me rather than having kind of one whole page like that's kind of free space. You can, you know, there's the column that you can kind of make part of the kind of, you know, the left hand page, but it still feels like there's quite a lot of space that I don't necessarily utilize in the best way. So yeah, I think this weekly layout will be a lot better for me. I'm also really looking forward to getting into my fountain pens again, because this is Tomorrow River paper, and the grid is a bit better for me in terms of writing, because although you can obviously use fountain pens in Hobonichi weeks, the grid is a bit smaller, and so I do find that I'm limited in which of my pens that I can use, and so I can't use some of my favourite ones, whereas because the pages are bigger and the grid's bigger, I will be able to with this. And then finally in here are notes pages. It follows the same grid style as the weeks and monthly pages, which I'm really looking forward to using, because the way they kind of have it set up, it's the camera's not picking up kind of the different lines, but there's actually lines within there, so there's kind of 3 different grids you can use, which just means these pages are so flexible in terms of how you use them, how you set them up. So I'm really looking forward to kind of trying different things with these pages. but you also get a decent amount. So it's like 70 pages, so a very similar number to the weeks. And so it means that I can do everything that I currently do in my week's note pages in terms of my budget planning and things like that, but just with a bit more room and a bit more width to it, because at the moment they are kind of scrunched in and quite cramped. And then yeah, there's plenty of other notes pages for me to use for other ad hoc notes that I currently use my week's notes for. And yeah, that's it. It's quite a simple setup, just that on the back, and then cover pages, and that's why I kind of love it so much. It's very simple, very classy and neat, but will absolutely do everything I need it to and kind of do things better than the weeks, because I'm not as limited in the size. So just to give you a bit of a comparison of B6 versus weeks, so the weeks is only slightly taller, but obviously this is a lot wider. And between that and the slightly different layout and the fact that the pages have grids on both sides, I just think this will absolutely work for me next year. I will be sad to not be using the weeks as kind of a main planner, but I do have another idea for how I'm going to use the weeks next year, because I do still want them. I do still want one. But yeah, I am so glad that they released a B6 version of their planners, because yeah, if you haven't seen my Take a Note review, give it a watch. But I did really like the planner in terms of the quality of it, the setup, the paper. Just that A5 size was too big for me. B6 is perfect, and I know lots of people talk about wishing that Hobonichi would release a B6 planner, and this, before I kind of didn't really get it, and having kind of seen this and looked at it and gone, actually yeah, this would work really well for me, I get where people are coming from now. So I will be sharing kind of future videos in terms of my full planner setup for next year, and kind of all the planners that I've got and the setups for them and everything like that. So yeah, if you're interested to kind of see the setup for this and how I plan on using it for the year, please do subscribe if you haven't already. But hopefully you enjoy this video, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.